Good morning and welcome to the morning call for Friday the 24th of February 2017. I think the thing you really need to concentrate on this morning is Philip Lowe is addressing the Standing Committee at the House of Representatives for the economic side. It is going to be very interesting to see the questions get thrown at him by politicians. They're always curveballs in terms of what they see. And clearly wage growth is going to be part of it. Clearly also inflation and growth, and whether or not he's been overly optimistic around his growth expectations are all going to have a part into it. I've deliberately put the Aussie behind me to show you that it's holding above 77 US cents. And that's despite last night we actually saw iron ore falling 3.1%. Still well and truly welded above 90 US a tonne, however. But again, getting back to him, he has got a very, very delicate tightrope. And I spoke about this the other day. Wage growth is very, very low. Household debt is incredibly high. And that's no doubt about what he's going to be sort of built on in terms of where they're going. Not only that, next week, having a look on Wednesday, we actually get fourth quarter GDP numbers for this country. Technical recession? No, it's not going to happen. So you need to really sort of gauge that into it. We've seen those export numbers really adding some serious numbers to it. But that will also be part of the questioning that he gets today. It will therefore move that currency. It will move the Aussie. It will move the ASX as well. If he does say some things that don't completely play a dead bat to any sort of those curveball questions that come on top of it. Much quieter day also here with regards to earnings season. It's realistically now basically at the back end. Nothing really I would point to that's actually any major in terms of actually getting out there and looking at it. Other things on the wires, and the other reason I've got the currencies up there, you can see the US dollar has actually eased off against pretty much everything overnight. There wasn't a huge amount of news around it, but what has happened this morning is Trump is starting to talk up about his tax reform policies, yet still not actually put out there. He also saw his secretary do the same thing, and yet again, we haven't seen any major reaction. And the US dollar is now starting to take more attention to the FOMC and what the Fed is doing, rather than all this speculation around fiscal policy. Something to very much clearly watch on that as well next week. And looking to the US on the sides, ISM manufacturing data, preliminary Q4 numbers for their GDP as well. There's a few Chicago and sort of things like Michigan PMI numbers as well. So the data is there next week. It will be quite interesting again to see how that reacts. We made more record all-time highs in the Dow and the S&P again, despite again not a huge amount of news. Finally, last thing I want to highlight is oil. Oil at the moment is going through a really interesting period. Inventories overnight actually fell, drove the oil price up. OPEC continues to talk about the fact that they are seeing signs that they're actually slowing down the production side. So oil's one to watch now, and possibly to the upside. Part of the reason you saw those record numbers in the US was that you saw Chevron and ExxonMobil explode on the back of those numbers that we saw coming out of the EIA. So they're also due on the weekend. There's a few other ones, Baker Hughes, etc. But always an interesting trade at the moment. One to watch. Don't think it'll go higher than sort of 57 or even as high as 59 US a barrel, but certainly one that may actually move up over the next couple of weeks. Have a good trading day and have a good weekend. Speak to you on Monday.